Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer, and this is a build for the Raptor Talons. We're currently on Journey 5. We're going to take on some main bosses, some field bosses, and talk about the weapons. Now, the Raptor Talons don't have a ton of range, but they can build up on successive hits, and they're really powerful. If you stack Bloodflame with them, since they have innate bleed on them, they'll do a substantial amount of bleed as well. As you're going to see here as we take on the Fire Giant, how quickly I was able to completely shred his HP, given the fact that he has 50,000 HP around Journey 5. It's pretty substantial damage that we did. We're able to make this fight extremely quick too, and it's able to build up once again good damage, good AR, while also doing a substantial amount of bleed too. Now, I had used these around launch, but I hadn't used them recently, and I can't remember whether or not I used Bloodflame Blade with them, but they're fantastic. Given that innate bleed we mentioned, builds up a lot of bleed together. They're really quick to hit. You can build up successive attack stuff. You're able to get a lot of damage out of the Raptor Talons. And as you're able to see here, within a minute and a half or so total time, we're able to take down the Fire Giant on currently Journey 5. These absolutely did fantastic damage, and the Bloodflame Blade was a good mix to give a lot of bleed damage too, and able to take down the Fire Giant very quickly. So if the Fire Giant is a boss you're having trouble with, and I know a lot of people do have trouble with him, just get near his ankle, and then in the second phase near his legs, and you're going to absolutely shred him with the Raptor Talons. For mobs, this is excellent as well. By the way, if you're not subbed, definitely sub to this channel if you love overpowered PvE builds. We've done a ton of builds as of late. This is 38 in a row, by the way, every single day, 38 straight now. It's been pretty incredible. Definitely be sure to sub if you want to check out awesome content, keep Elden Ring interesting, most importantly, have fun. There's a Discord too that's also in the description. Now for mobs, as I mentioned, it's actually quite good. By the way, the Ash of War that I chose for it ended up, I believe, being Storm Stomp, but you can use a whole bunch of different ones. Quick Step is really good on this too. I didn't end up using a lot of the Ash of War because these absolutely destroy just building up the successive attacks. And using Bloodflame Blade. By the way, Royal Knight's Resolve is also really good on this too because you can get a lot of damage out of it, and because 2 hits generally count as 1 when you use Royal Knight's Resolve with any type of fist type weapon. Generally speaking, the first 2 hits will get that boost, so you can use that too. And as you can see here, we put the Godskin duo to sleep, and then you're going to see the amount of HP that we can take off with these. It's actually really incredible. I was actually surprised with the damage. I knew they were good, didn't know they were this good. And as you can see there, he wasn't even able to get up in time before he absolutely got shredded by the bleed, the damage. We even got a posture break here. It's actually incredible how good these are. The Raptor's Talons are very, very impressive. Yeah, the Raptor's Talons in general are also a really fun weapon to use. They're really enjoyable to use. You do have to get up close and personal, but at the same time, you're able to absolutely destroy bosses' HP and do a lot of damage. And these are really fun to use too. They're one of those weapons that's really enjoyable to use. You can use them for jump attacks, a little bit hard to land, but you do get a lot of damage out of it. You have that unique R2 that has the flip that does a little bit of posture damage. Build up consecutive successive attack damage as well, and then obviously you have the light attack, which works very well too. Now for the Raptor Talons here, you're going to see on the NPC Invader we're using Storm Stomp, which can stutter NPC invaders, by the way, and then you can follow up with either R2 or the light attacks. It's a good combination to go from the Storm Stomp to the charged R2 though. It's a good combination. General has a smooth transition. You can stutter and then follow up for a lot of damage. And overall, it works really well as far as NPC invaders go, as you can see there. And we're able to shred the Godskin duo and the Fire Giant. So far, I was really impressed, as I mentioned, with these. They do a lot of damage. And once again, we're going to show mobs again here. They're very, very good in general. The damage on them is excellent. Throwing in Bloodflame Blade, and then buffs like Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength can turn the Raptor's Talons into something that can shred the majority of bosses and regular enemies that you're going to come across in Elden Ring. So there is one thing to mention about jump attacks here, by the way. This weapon in general seems to have some kind of boost with the jump attacks. You actually get a lot of damage out of it, and then if you throw in the Clow Talisman, Raptor's Black Feathers, you'll get even more damage out of it. However, the R2 specifically, the jump attack, the charged jump attack, a little bit hard to land, doesn't have a lot of range. And there's that unique R2 again that absolutely was able to shred the big Envoy there, the one that drops the Envoy's Longhorn. One of my favorite weapons in the game, by the way. A lot of fun to use that one. I have a build for that too on my channel. But yeah, the R2 is really fun to use. Doesn't get a boost from the jump attack even though there's a jump in it, but does do a good amount of posture damage, good amount of damage in general. Now, one thing to mention real quick is that I'm using these on Keen to get the A in Dexterity, and then obviously since they have 60 innate bleed on them, I'm stacking that with Bloodflame Blade for the extra bleed, extra damage, and that good Dexterity scaling. This is primarily a Dexterity weapon, so you might as well make the best out of it, and Keen really gave me a good amount of damage while also using Bloodflame Blade to get the bleed buildup, as I mentioned. Fantastic combination. Now let's get into equipment. Now for equipment, we have the Raptor Talons plus 24. You're going to want them plus 25. I just didn't have an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. Any seal will do. We have the Raptor's Black Feathers on for the jump attack boost. Rottenwing Sword Insignia. We have the Clow Talisman. Lord of Blood's Exultation. Millicent's Prosthesis. Then we have the Thorny tier and the Faith tier for buffs as well. Now let's get into stats. This is basically a dexterity weapon all the way through, and since we're using Keen, we went for 80 dexterity and a good amount of vigor as well. This was done on a 150 character, so it's pretty straightforward. But as far as damage goes, you're going to get a lot with high dexterity on Keen, and then adding Bloodflame Blade to it. Make sure you invest a little bit into vigor and have a little bit of mind and some endurance as well, because this can chew through a little bit of endurance. But overall, I like these stats. They're well-rounded. Now let's get into buffs. Now for buffs, this is very straightforward as usual in most of my videos. We're going to go with the longer stuff first, like drinking your tear, and then we're going to cast Golden Vow. You can use Blessings Boon if you want a little bit of extra HP. Then we're going to use Flame Grant Me Strength, fill up our FP, and then we get to use Bloodflame Blade and do a lot of damage with these. We have that unique R2, that jump attack, and then Storm Stomp, but you can use Quick Step or Royal Knight's Resolve. They all work really well with the Raptor's Talons. Now, these aren't great against dragons because the damage type obviously is resisted a fair bit. The Bloodflame Blade will go through and do some bleed damage and whatnot. I generally have been using these two guys in Caelid lately to test stuff on because they're essentially like mini bosses. It gives me an idea of how much damage I can do in general on most of the builds I do. By the way, one other thing to mention about Bloodflame Blade is that the bleed on it is a fixed amount. So upping your faith can up the damage of the Bloodflame Blade itself. But as far as the actual bleed goes on it, it's a fixed amount. So once you get the requirements to use Bloodflame Blade, you're going to have that fixed amount forever, even if you do up your faith stat. So you don't have to go too crazy with faith for this build. As you noticed earlier though, and you'll see it again, I do like using Golden Vow and then using the faith tier. So I only have to have 15 faith and that gives me 25. So I can use the Golden Vow for that 15% damage boost while also using Flame Grant Me Strength for another 20% damage boost to the physical, and then a little bit of the fire boost on the Bloodflame Blade as well. I hope this video was helpful. By the way, there is one thing I wanted to mention. If you're looking for a weapon to use with Bloodflame Blade, this is an excellent choice. This is probably one of the best ones out there, given the fact that you can stack so much bleed, so much damage in general off them. Fantastic to combination with the fact that you have bleed, a little bit of fire damage, and successive attack bonuses as well. And there you have it. There's 38 builds for you in a row. Literally 38 days of build videos. It's been absolutely crazy. I'm going to continue to see how many crazy builds I can make and whatnot. It's been an absolute blast so far. And now, obviously, we know DLC is probably coming later this year, sometime in the summer, maybe sometime in the fall. Even with that being said, though, Elden Ring is going to be around for a while. Title expansion also makes me think it's going to be big DLC, so I'm really looking forward to that. If you're not subbed and you love overpowered PvE builds, be sure to check out all the awesome builds that are on my channel. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will catch you guys there.